Greg's all been here East West. Another special collaboration video here with Chris, the Red Devil. How you doing, Chris? Good to see you, my friend.
I'm doing fine, Benjamin. How are you, sir?
I'm very well. A little bit cold and wet here in old Sydney town at the moment. Obviously, we're in the depths of winter, as you are in the hot New York summer, I would imagine.
75 degrees and humid.
I don't know what that means, mate. I do Celsius.
Actually, you're right. I wouldn't even know how to convert it to Celsius, buddy.
That's what Google's for. Um, mate, we've been talking about breakouts lately, and a few people you've seen people online on Twitter, sort of, or X as it's now called, um,
Yeah.
sort of calling things breakouts that sort of haven't agreed that that's a breakout. So I thought what we'd do is we just go through a few examples of what we see as breakouts, not breakouts, how we look at breakouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's one of the most improperly used terms in the technical analysis world, if you ask me.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So we're just going to start here. We're just looking at a chart here of silver. So I think we'll take this out to a weekly. So when we look at silver here, this is an interesting one, right? So I think we were talking about when we were looking at silver, we were talking about these tops here, all these sort of tops around $30 that we've now kind of breached. So what are you
yeah,
seeing here, brother?
well, this, even though you have all of this up here, right? I would call this a breakout from this level, right? So it's been this level since what, 2020,
Mm,
2021. So you've had
mhm.
about 4 years of testing this level multiple times,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So I'm calling this a breakout for sure. It just becomes a matter of, do we have the follow through yet? And the question is, the answer to that is no. But I'm still calling this a breakout. It's a breakout that doesn't have follow through yet.
yeah.
But as we zoom in, you're going to be able, we're going to see that, it's done, it's back test,
Yeah, well,
right?
that's right. So we can just, while we're on the big view here, we can see this blue box is represented the tops that we've seen. So when we come down here to the daily, okay, and this is where it looks good, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
we got above. We've tested once. We've come down here and tested a little bit twice, and now we're on our way. So I think to me, to agree with what you were saying, this isn't confirmed yet. It's got to take this out, but we've got a pretty good start, I would have thought. I mean, that it's really showing a lot of the classic signs that you would hope to see. For me,
So now just on this breakout, since now I'm thinking about it, what everyone who's playing silver has to be cautious of is, yes, you've got this, oh, come on, yes, you've got this situation here, right?
mm,
Um, but what you now need to be cautious of is that because we've made silver made a lower low here,
it did.
right?
Yeah,
So if this doesn't take out, if this next impulse doesn't take out these highs, then you're looking at a breakout with no follow through, and that could be problematic, right? So right now, as it stands, this is a little bit of a bear trap, especially the way it's acting now, because it definitely took out these levels here. But we need to get over this, and then it's without a doubt it's a confirmed breakout. But for all intents and purposes, for this particular discussion, I am calling this a breakout for sure.
yeah, I would agree. And you're right, because that is something to keep in mind is that we have done that. So what we've got is still a lower high, even though it's just marginally at a lower low. So that in itself is not, I mean, technically that means even though it's not much of a trend, that does mean that the market is in a downtrend. Okay. So, and that downtrend won't be fully defeated until we take out this top. Okay. That's just the sign that the market's now neutral. And then from there, all we need to see is a pullback that doesn't break that and then go again. And then we've got the trend structure. But yeah, looking back a little bit further, that's not a bad sign. This is just the old resistance level being tested as support. And I think we're talking about this is almost like an accumulation where this is like a spring, like you said, like a bear trap. And it's kind of acting that way so far. Now we're just on a daily here. We need more, of course, but that in itself looks pretty good to me. And the fact that even off say this pivot, I think I've been drawing off this pivot. We didn't quite get back 50%. We nearly got there, but then you can sort of take this. Actually, I think if you look at this on futures, it did. It hit that 50% level, but I'll discuss that in this week's silver video. But this looks pretty good overall. Then when we can combine it with what we can see here in terms of a breakout, it looks pretty rosy to me. It just, like you said, we just really need to just get through this. But it looks like we're on our way at least up to come up and test this into next week, I would think. What do you reckon?
Yeah, so truly what it is, it's as simple as this. It's a breakout with no follow through.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So you're just looking for the next piece, and that's going to be the follow through.
Yep, I agree. So look, let's move on to Bitcoin. So I think with this one we look at the big monthly here. So this one's a little bit different because, as you pointed out, this is not like silver in terms of, even though that some of the structure looks the same, but this is a blue sky breakout, right?
Yeah, and quite simply, the definition of a blue sky breakout is that there is no resistance. There's no resistance up here. There's no resistance anymore. We have new levels that Bitcoin has never seen. So by the very definition, that is called a blue sky breakout.
Yep.
Which makes, traders love blue sky breakouts because there is no resistance. Now, Ben, you use fibs, so do I.
Yep.
You're going to use fibs on it, and fib extensions, fib traders, people that use fibs are going to start looking at the extensions and saying, okay, well, these could be my next target areas or my resistance points or whatever. But that's it. It's a blue sky breakout.
That's right. And that's the problem. Like, if you're long, as we should disclose that we both are,
Yes.
where do you get out? Where's your target? And sort of those fib extensions are pretty much all you've got to structure up a trade, because otherwise we're going to get out. Now, you could just go, well, I'm going to get out when it does that. Yeah, and that would be fair if it starts trending down. And this is on a monthly, of course. But like, how much profit are you going to give up doing that? So, maybe you're tightening it up and doing it on a smaller scale. But we're digressing. I think the thing is that we broke and then we've consolidated basically on its broad range here, which I'll probably consider kind of that, where you're just taking the wicks and you're taking in the open and the close there. So for me, that's consolidated with its own. And to me, it looks ready to push on. But once again, like silver, this is a breakout with no follow through and no confirmation yet. That's how I would view this. Would you agree?
Yeah, because you just want to make sure that you have sorry.
That's all right.
You just want to make sure that this low holds now, right? And you just want to eventually get a higher high here, and then you're going to be a happy camper, you know?
Yep, for sure.
And we don't, listen, we don't, no one can predict anything. All right. So
no.
Anybody who predicts is, you should question that. But it looks fine. It looks good,
Yeah. I mean, what I would like to see personally is the break up and then the retest into probably, into this new zone. I would call it a new zone. This would become a new area. Oh, that didn't work very well. A new area of structure where if it came back and retested that would be perfect. And if it then went on and made a higher high from there, which is what I'm expecting to happen, that would be ideal. That to me would absolutely confirm the breakout if that held. But you know what? It's Bitcoin, and a lot of the time it doesn't do that. It just does this. The pullbacks become very, very shallow. So we will see. But a blue sky breakout, but not confirmed. I think that's how we read that, right?
Yeah, I would call it that, but it's, again, for sure, it's absolutely a breakout.
Yep, cool. All right, well, look, let's move on to this one. This one's a bit more interesting. Maplebear. So I'm just going to pull this back to the daily. So you've seen a lot of people on Twitter that have called this candle here a breakout candle, but you don't agree.
Yeah.
You don't think this is a breakout.
Well, just to be clear, it's not necessarily just on Instacart, on Maplebear here, that I'm talking about but I see a lot of technical analyst guys or whatever you want to call them, and they're doing something to the effect of this. They have this trend line, and then they're calling this break of this trend line a breakout. Now, I completely disagree with that, actually. I do not call this a breakout. I would never call this a breakout because look at all of this action that it has to deal with. It hasn't gone through anything. What I would call this, though, is a bull break from a falling wedge. And that's exactly what it is. And, as a disclosure, again, I bought this day. I bought this break. I did sell some today. I still have partial, but this, in my opinion, is not a quote unquote breakout, one of the most misused terms in markets, in my opinion. This is, though, a falling wedge bull break. That's what I would literally call
Yeah, I'd agree. There's a lot that this market's got to get through before it's truly on its way. So yeah,
it. Now, think
like you
about
said,
this, Ben. Would
mm,
you call this, if it takes this out, would you call that a breakout?
mm, well, no, only in so much as I think it's good. If it got that close, then it's got to
Correct.
get
I
through that.
100% agree. So,
That would be
and
my broad area.
there may be guys that are saying, oh, the breakout's going to, if it takes out all this chop, this structure here, because you have structure here, then it's going to be a breakout. And again, I disagree.
No,
So the breakout for this name is above these levels.
yeah, because I would look at that and go, okay, well, it's got to get through that, and then maybe even coming off this pivot, what does that couple with? I mean, that to me, there's a lot of work. It's got to look. It could get straight through there. There's no doubt about it. But to me, I would have that as one level. Then you've got to come off the top pivot. That might even be a better pivot to look at. I would suggest that if it gets through here, then it's a good chance to at least test this. But until it does that, I wouldn't consider that necessarily a breakout. Okay.
Yeah, well,
And even
as
even then, sorry, just looking back, even then you've got to
yeah,
come off, that. So there's a bit to go there, right?
right. The thing is that, and this is where opinions come in, right? So
Yep.
this here, this is the IPO.
Yep.
It makes sense that this happens. Yes, it is a chart level, right?
Sure.
But I would still say if we take this out, then you're calling it a breakout, and then until you get the pivots that you're talking about here
Mm.
and the retest, and then you have the breakout with confirmation. So
Yes. Yes.
this is where we're going to have a little bit of a are you calling this? Is someone going to say it's not a breakout until it takes that out? And they would have an argument there. I wouldn't even be able to fight them on it. So I mean, and that's a little bit where some opinions come in on technical analysis, right?
Yep. Yep. For sure. For
So
sure.
it's worth exploring, people that are listening. But at the end of the day, this is not the breakout. It's got to be
No,
a
no, I agree. I wouldn't have called that. Like you said, I mean, a breaking of a wedge, sure, but uh, an absolute breakout in terms of how I think about it, not so much. I don't really view it that way. Um, I would look at this and expect it to retest down, maybe fill that gap before it goes on. But that's just me. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. So
well, I
yeah,
hope so, because I cut partial in hopes,
yeah,
in hopes
yeah,
for the
yeah.
reload.
Yeah. Oh, indeed, indeed. That sort of thing I'd put on my radar, looking for a retracement. So, anyway, let's move on now. We're going to look at copper futures, right? Because this one's kind of interesting as well. So let's just right. So here's the daily chart. So what are you saying here? What do you see? What do you think about this one?
Much like Bitcoin, copper has made a blue sky breakout, right? Because it took this out. You could, on your chart, probably,
This
did
is
it
the
take it out?
futures, though. This is futures. So futures, I don't think it did, but I think the
Okay.
actual physical metal, yes, it did break out. Um, So it has made all-time highs. I mean, this could have been coming in. I'd have to double check. It might have been coming into expiry. So actually, I
Yeah,
think a big part of this run was the short squeeze on the expiry. So I wouldn't. I would still classify it as blue sky. Or
interestingly enough,
maybe
I
if I
guess because I'm
adjust my
using,
chart that way. Yeah. So
I'm using,
sorry, I had my contract adjust on, so that when you do that, then yes, it has broken out. So
okay, okay, because you had it on adjusted.
yeah, so it would have just
Okay,
auto rolled. That's why I didn't do it. But yes, look, it's the same thing, right? It has broken out to new all-time highs one way or the other.
yeah, so there's your copper breakout, right? And even more so now because we are looking at, it's a pretty good drawdown off of that. This is a rejection, so you could look. This could start to be viewed as a fake outbreak, a fake breakout, right? Because this is a pretty big retracement. You have to see what happens. Um, I went long copper 2 days ago, yesterday maybe 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So I'm swinging some contracts on copper. Um, Hoping that it gets back up there to do it. It made its low here, but whatever. It's absolutely, this is a breakout, no follow through. Okay,
Yes.
and not only that, but what are you on the daily here? Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's not only did it not follow through, but it confirmed the daily downtrend right after it. So yeah, red flags. So we need this area to get taken out. And if it rejects, I'll probably end up getting stopped out over here, which is fine. I'll still make profit on the trade, but this is a different look than Bitcoin and silver. We can agree on that. So
I think it
um,
is. Yeah. It
it
looks differently. I don't, maybe the fundamentals here are more rosy, but we're not concentrating on fundamentals. We're just looking at what price is doing now because that's all that really matters.
Yeah, and again, the whole point of the video is to talk about a couple of breakouts and what they look like and what some breakouts don't look like
Yeah.
Instacart, like Maplebear.
Yeah.
So
And this one is good in terms of actual fake breakouts because I'm just looking at this and what do you got? Doji, Marabou's big down candle. So when the market got up here, the fact that no one could win the wrestle was telling you that the buying was exhausted, right? And then we got the big down bar for whatever reason. And people go, oh yeah, but it was short squeeze on futures expiry, whatever it was. It doesn't matter what it was. It only matters what it is, and what it is two indecisive days where they couldn't make up their minds in another big day. And what has that led to? Like you said, downtrend. Okay. Coming
yeah.
right back into the structure. Okay. Back into sort of test this. So as this sits, yes, this is a fake breakout. But the question now is, does this get back up? Because this is what we want to see ultimately. Okay. And that's the question that still needs to be answered.
So the question is though, do you call this a breakout? If none of these candles were in existence, right? Would you call these candles a breakout?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't think so. There's not enough there to make me convinced that's a breakout. That looks like a fake breakout to me. And the fact that you've even got, I mean, even look at this more closely. I mean, this is even an inside bar, an inside range. So you've got a
Yeah.
doji, an inside doji, and then the big one down. I mean, that was the warning shot. I mean, amongst other things, there was other things you could have looked at here. The fact that we were getting hot above the Keltners. There's a bunch of things there, right? So yeah, this is what I would call a fake breakout, but I would qualify that as saying it's not, even though to start with it has come off quite drastically. If this was really going to fail, I would expect, you can see where all the structure is down here. I would expect it to come right back down here, um, like that.
Yeah. Obviously, if we lose these levels right here, it's problematic. There's no question about it. So
Yeah, yeah, I would
very
think
good
so.
though. All
But
right.
we're
So
watching.
listen, we've seen true breakouts.
Yep,
We've seen blue sky breakouts. We've seen a non-breakout.
yep.
We've seen a fake out. What do we got next?
Well, let's finish off here with everyone's favorite GameStop. So let's go here to a monthly. All right. So you're involved with this one. You're
Of course.
very
I'm a,
humbly
I'm,
bragging how long you were. Um, got the
I'm a degenerate trader. What do you expect? That's what everyone calls us, right?
yeah. I think I saw a Carnival cruise brochure on your desk there. So talk to me about this, mate. What do you see? What do you got? What do you reckon?
This is interesting, right? So, can we say that something like this, can we call this a breakout? You know, personally, I'm saying, yeah, I'm saying that this is a breakout from here. All right. Because, and why would I say that? Well, you've got a 3-year running trend line, massive trend line that has been rejecting for over and over and over. And it just blasted through it with volume. We
Yeah,
know what's going on, right?
I was
So
about to say, let's
it
bring up
just
the volume.
blasted through with volume. So to
Massive
me,
volume.
to
Massive
me, this
volume.
is a breakout.
Mm, mm.
Now
I'd
the
agree.
question becomes, now I know, and this is a good, this is why we have these discussions, right? So is it, there'll probably be players who say it's not a breakout until here. There
Yeah.
might be players who say it's not really breaking out until here. There
Mm,
might be people that are saying, I want to see this whole horizontal structure, this structure over here get taken out,
mm.
and there, you can make arguments all you want on something like that, and there could be some validity to it. But the way I'm looking at it now, it's in breakout.
Yeah,
It's not blue sky breakout. It's not, but this is a huge, huge, huge move.
I'd agree. What we haven't had here is the retrace. There's been no retest, but it this is like, as we know, I'm going to bring this into a weekly, could be more interesting. As we know that this one, you know, it is a different scenario to everything else out there, right? It's a unique social experiment, I'd almost call it. But I mean, look, we this is actually I should correct myself, because we did get a retest back down here, but the fact that we're now doing this, um, and the volume again this week has really picked up. Um, you know, eyes are on GameStop again. Um, this is a break. I mean, I would call that a breakout. Yes, yes, but there is, and a part of that is the volume and the participation that's going on down here in the price move, and I suspect this is only going to continue. I mean, look at this post. We're already up to $54. Like,
Shocking.
you know what we get, you know what's going to happen with this thing, right? Like, everybody who missed out on it last time and who watched the movie and saw the documentaries, and there are going to be a lot of people coming for this thing again. And it doesn't have to make sense, but they just like, oh, well, last time everyone got rich and this time I'm going to get rich. So,
Yeah, well, just remember the last time a lot of people got left holding some pretty big bags
yeah, well,
as
that's because
well.
people don't have plans about when they're going to exit. I mean, it reminded me, it was really funny because I did watch that movie that they made, and there was that scene where the lady was up, oh, she might have been up $500,000 or something like that. And then she logged on and she was up like 18,000 because it had come all the way back. And it's kind of like, what feels worse? Like, do you feel worse taking $500,000 off the table, sticking it in your bank, and watching that profit double to 1 million? Does that feel worse, or does it feel worse having $500,000 there you can take off the table, stick in your bank, and watching that become 18,000? Now, I'm reckoning it feels worse to watch your winnings disappear than it is to watch your winnings double. That's just my opinion.
My
Um,
thing is that I've always said, and I'll say it over and over, the smaller mistake is leaving money on the table,
yeah,
right?
I'd agree.
So yeah, listen, that's why I'm an advocate, and this, I take partials and I do it pretty quick a lot, right? So I'd rather take a half off and get basically risk free, and then just trail my stop up and kind of walk it up. I mean, I
I'd,
was doing that with silver all day today on
yep.
the futures contracts.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking half off, and then I was just walking up my stop, and then when it came down to another level again and stopped me out or whatever, I just lather, rinse, repeat. So I'll just do that. Even with this, I'm doing that with GameStop.
I'd
Um,
agree. And all I'd say to people is if you do have a position in GameStop, learn the lessons from the last time and just have a plan. And I don't think, as you said, it's a bad idea to take partials off the table as we go up.
yeah, just take
Okay.
some partial, man, and
Man,
get risk free.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
this thing is up. What we're on the weekly here, right? This thing's up 100% in a week. Yeah, that doesn't happen. So, you know, is it stupid to take a partial now, depending on where you're long, of course? But if you're looking at a stock that's trading at $60 or $70, it goes up 30% a day, it's probably not a bad idea to just nibble off a little bit. It's not, you're not going to go broke. Okay. You go broke holding it all the way to the
yeah.
top and
I
then
mean,
all the
it's
way to the
not.
bottom.
Listen, we're not telling anybody. We're not giving anybody financial advice. This is just how I operate.
Yep.
Um,
Same here. So
at,
yeah.
at the end of the day, the term breakout is a very abused term,
Yep.
and I hope that this stuff maybe clears things up for some people out there that are trying to better themselves with technical analysis, and maybe make them
I,
a little bit more profitable during the rest of their lives
I
trading
would,
stocks.
I would hope so. I would
You
hope
know,
that if that happens, if just one person stops and thinks again, then our mission has been fulfilled. I would have succeeded. I would have thought.
yeah, man.
Yeah, cool. Hey, look, man, it's been really great to talk to you today. We've gone over some good stuff here. So let's do it again soon.
Yeah, good times, Ben. I think we covered some good stuff. And be careful when you use that term breakout out there, people. It's very abused term.
Not to be used lightly.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, look, you have a great evening over there, and we will talk soon.
Yes, my brother. Over and out.
Thank you, mate. Bye bye.
Yep.